full of color. You're the blessings that exist, the same things that bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.
All that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be, it's a blessing, it's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all.
Every time I turn around, you're the water when I burn. Every time I think I found everything I'm looking for, you're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward and start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the world singing chorus with your mind and heart. Alignment, purpose, everything.
All that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be, is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all.
With what I have, I never could ever imagine. Back to all of this magic, and spread love so everybody can have it. Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, and what we all know. I can just complain and moan. There's things that I can be grateful for.
More than you know.
Awesome.
Am I coming through okay? Am I? Y'all hear me back there?
It's off.
Is it? This one?
Hello? Button?
There you
Hello? Okay, that's what it was. A simple button. And talking about simple buttons, if we can just stop a moment right now to put our phones on vibrate or silent, because we want to be courteous to our guest speakers that are going to be presenting today, as well as to those folks around you. And this is also going to be recorded, so I'd really appreciate it if you folks would just take that moment to put those phones on silent. We're all ready? Yeah? Okay. My name is Gil. I happen to be a volunteer here at Infinite Love and a part of the family as well, and I want to just take this moment to say thank you for coming here. Thank you for bringing this beautiful energy and sharing this moment with us, being a part of this Sunday Awakening. There's quite a few faces here that are new. I mean, I see plenty that I see on a regular basis, but there's quite a faces that are new, and I just want to take a moment to explain what infinite love is, because I'm sure most of you don't know exactly how deep infinite love is. But Infinite Love is an organization that was founded by 4 women after a series of events and tragedies in their lives that left them feeling that they had to make a shift in their lives and start focusing on some healing. So they took the time to focus on inner growth. They took the time to focus on uplifting and growing and tuning into their divinity and spirituality. And that was the initial spark. That was what pretty much started it all. But it wasn't just that. They noticed that they weren't the only ones that had to do this type of self-work either. So they started group meditations out of their homes. And it was a wonderful thing that started to grow by word of mouth alone. And the word was spreading of the power of the meditation, and everyone walking away feeling uplifted and better each time. People were showing up to receive and were walking away realizing they had something to give. Those that were showing up to give were walking away realizing they had something to receive as well. So it was a very synergistic experience. And it kept growing from there. And eventually they formed a nonprofit organization. And from the onset, they kept it without affiliation to any spiritual organization or any political ties. They wanted it to be inviting to all people from all walks of life. And they did that by maintaining 4 core values. And those 4 core values are compassion, being self-loving and loving towards others as well, and working on healing and inner growth. They did that by focusing on service, serving others. Because what you do for the other, you do for yourself. What you do for yourself, you do for the other. They did that by serving the community as well, building a community, building this organization where people could come together, commune, and grow together, heal together, support one another. And I happen to be one of those beneficiaries. They also did it by encouraging spirituality and supporting our spiritual growth, regardless of whatever path, whatever route, whatever spiritual background you're from. They're not here to tell you how to do it. There's no doctrine or dogma. Whatever path you chose is the one we're going to support you on. And that's what goes on here.
You need a hug.
Looks like you want to share something now. Anyway, that initial spark, that first glow of love, that energy within their hearts, has since grown beyond the weekly meditations that they were conducting. It's grown into 3 other areas as well. They serve their community in much grander ways now. On a weekly basis, Tuesdays and Fridays at the McAllen Municipal Park, they feed the needy, hot meals, provide clothing, and even subsidize their cost of living where it's needed. Each day at the Texas Oncology Center, a hot meal for each patient that's struggling with finger pains. And it's grown beyond that, even still, that we're now able to offer these Sunday awakenings. These are great opportunities where we learn. We have guest speakers come in. And I'm sorry that I'm getting all touched. I was touched. The Sunday's awakenings started off sporadically. And eventually they were every other month, and now we're able to offer them on a monthly basis because of the positive energy that's been drawing in and also coming from these Sunday awakenings. That initial spark that was the catalyst for forming Infinite Love has since grown beyond that even still. Infinite Love isn't just a place in Edinburgh where you come to meditate in groups. Infinite Love isn't an organization that gives out meals to the needy or to the cancer patients. It's beyond that. Infinite Love isn't a place where we hold these Sunday awakenings for the public either. It's well beyond that. Infinite Love is an energy. It's out there. It's grown. It's spreaded wings. And it's flying high. And it's a beautiful thing to watch and be a part of. And with that being said, Infinite Love is also a family. It's a place of community where when you come here, your soul says, I'm home. And it's a beautiful experience. I can speak for myself, and I dare say that I'm speaking for everyone else, that the energy from the experience that we have here is one that lingers well after having the experience of meditating in group or having a group discussion, watching an inspirational video, volunteering together, or conducting these Sunday awakenings. So who are these four wonderful ladies? Well, they're each very humble, but they were probably dancing up here. And if you haven't had the opportunity to speak with them before we got started, you'll probably get a chance to speak with them during the break. And even if you don't know who they were, if you missed the dancing, trust me, they have such a lovely energy about them that just by speaking to them, you'll know who they are. And I'm very grateful to these four ladies and for the Infinite Love experience. Notice that I'm calling it an experience. It's not just an organization anymore. Infinite Love is an experience. And I encourage you, if you're new, to come back and explore different ways of personal growth, developing your spirituality and divinity, experiencing community, supporting others and being supported by others. It's a beautiful experience. And talking about those beautiful experiences, today is one of those. Today is Sunday Awakening. Like I said, these have ramped up to where we're having them on a once a month basis. And we have two wonderful speakers. We have Shahana Dattagupta and Shirin Subhani. And they're here to talk to us about awakening the Creator within. And just as a side note, I wasn't expecting to be up here. I actually found out a few days ago. And like I said, we support each other. And I guess, in being asked, they saw something in me where this was an opportunity for me to grow. And it was, because I learned something about our guest speakers that made me appreciate what message they have to bring all the more. And I hope that you can find that same deep appreciation for the message that they carried with them today. And that message, again, is awakening the Creator within. That Creator within. Think about it. When we were children, it didn't matter what we were doing. If we were running or cycling, we felt like we were the fastest. We were superheroes, right? Or we could have been creating something as simple as a sandcastle or a fort underneath the kitchen table with the bed sheets around us. And it was awesome, right? We were in our own little world. Or it could have been playing with clay, making music. You didn't need an instrument, a cardboard box, a tin can, and a stick, and you were going at it. But you were creating something. You were in a happy place. Making a paper airplane. Watch it go, or it didn't matter. You picked it back up, you fixed it, and off it went, but you were creating something. It may not have been original, but it was original to you. And the reason those were fun is because we were coming from a place of creativity, and that place of creativity comes from a place of passion. Passion is the act of turning being into action. And that being, what was that? It was love, right? And we've all experienced this, but we all reach a point where we stop creating. Somehow, somewhere along the way, we've stopped being passionately creative in our lives. And somehow, we became unconsciously creative without passion. We haven't stopped creating. We're always in a creative mode. It's just, what are we creating? Where are we coming from when we create? So, how do we get back to that place of creativity where it's full of passion and we're doing it consciously? How do we ignite that inner spark that gets us there? That's what Shahana and Shirin are here to speak to us about. These two ladies are very eclectic and multifaceted in talents. It's awesome when you read their autobiography. Shahana is an encourager and motivator of creativity. She's also the author of the two books you saw as you came in. One is Thrive, Falling in Love with Life, and the other one is You Are Michelangelo, You Are David. two awesome books. I'm in the middle of reading You Are Michelangelo, You Are David, and I cannot wait to finish the book. It's a real eye-opener. So I encourage you to pick up one of the books. They're being offered at the front desk. Shirin she works on building synergy in community, as well as finding new ways of raising children and youth. She's also very focused on raising autistic children. These two ladies met in 2008. By 2010, they brought their talents together and they formed Flying Chickadee. It's a website. They're primarily based out of Seattle, but if you go to their website, you see they have a lot to offer there. Beautiful things, beautiful testimonies. And they also have an online magazine called Courageous Creativity. So I invite you to go to their website and learn what they have to offer. They also offer creativity workshops where you pick your goal and they help you reach that goal of creativity. Okay? And now, when we talk about creativity, and I mentioned those examples earlier about in our youth, those were physical examples. But we don't just create in the physical realm. We create our experiences. We create our relationships. We create our lives, and we even have the power to create ourselves. And that's what they're here to help us with. That's what we're here to learn from. So I'm really excited about listening to what they have to teach us today. And allow me to say that they're here entirely out of the kindness of their hearts. And we do have a donation box by the entrance. And all of the collections which will be gathered today will be given to them as a show of gratitude. So if you feel you learned just something extra to help you move further along in life, please express that gratitude and put something in. Size doesn't matter. It's where it's coming from that matters. So I hope you're as excited as I am and will join me in inviting Shahana and Shirin up onto the stage. And once again, welcome to Infinite Love.
Hello? Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. All our gratitude, heartfelt gratitude for having us here to Infinite Love. To bring you to this space with us, to ground all of us, here is a small offering. Moko kahan, moko kahan, moko kahan, dhoonde re मैं तो तेरे पास हूँ, मैं तो तेरे पास में मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में, मैं तो तेरे पास में, ना तीरथ में ना मूरत में, ना तीरथ में ना मूरत में, ना एकांत निवास में, ना मंदिर में, ना मस्जिद में, ना मंदिर में, ना मस्जिद में, ना काबे कैलाश में, मैं तो तेरे पास में बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में, मैं तो तेरे पास में, ना मैं जप में ना मैं तप में, ना मैं व्रत उपास में, ना मैं जप में ना मैं तप में, ना मैं व्रत उपास में, ना मैं क्रिया कर्म में रहता, ना ही जोग संन्यास में, ना मैं क्रिया कर्म में रहता, ना ही जोग संन्यास में, ना ही प्राण में ना ही पिंड में, ना ही प्राण में ना ही पिंड में, ना ब्रह्मांड आकाश में, ना मैं प्रगति प्रवार गुफा में, ना मैं श्वासन के श्वास में, खोजी होए तुरंत मिल जाओ, खोजी होए तुरंत मिल जाओ, एक पल की तलाश में, एक पल की तलाश में, कहता कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, मैं तो हूँ विश्वास में, मैं तो हूँ विश्वास में, मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में, मैं तो हूँ विश्वास
do you search for me, my friend? I'm right here within you. I'm right here within you, my friend. I'm right here within you. I'm neither in pilgrimage nor in image, and not in your solitary seeking. I'm neither in the temple nor in the mosque, and not in Mecca or Mount Kailash. I'm right here within you, my friend, right here within you. I'm neither in chanting nor in penance, and not in fasting or sacrifice. I'm neither in rituals nor in willful doing, not in union or renunciation. I'm neither in spirit nor in body, and not in the cosmic skies. I'm neither in creation nor in existence, and not even in the breath of breaths. Wake up, says the mystic Kabir. Fall in your heart, and I shall be instantly seen. For I am solely in your fate. I'm right here within you. I'm right here within you, my friend. Right here within you.
That's a beautiful opening. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Must be a passion in you.
Thank you. Just for some technological help here.
Mr. Rogers, one of the kindest humans on the planet, a TV icon and children's neighbor, once said, "As human beings, our job in life is to help people realize how unique and valuable each one of us really is. That each of us has something that no one else has or ever will have. Something inside us that is unique to all time. It's our job to encourage each other to discover that uniqueness and to provide ways of developing its expression."
So at Flying Chickadee, which Shirin and I have co-founded together, we know only one thing. We know that each human being's true nature is love, and that creativity is the physical expression of that love in the world. And we were laughing in there that Gil pretty much gave our speech. He told you everything about that. He told you everything about how simply translating the love that is within us, the infinite love that's within us, to physical expression is what we call creativity. It's not at all necessarily that it is about painting or drawing or making something that we think of traditionally as creativity. So then what is it? It is each individual's unique spark that only you have, just like your DNA. Only you can see the world, Delilah. Only Delilah sees the world like Delilah sees it. Is that correct? That is Delilah's creativity. because she creates one way of seeing the world. And if she keeps seeing the world the way she keeps seeing the world through her love, it will be a loving and beautiful place. It would be Dalaila's creation will be a loving and beautiful place. So as each of our inner light and expression come into this world, the world lights up and we become enlightened. So we think that this is what the Bible means when it says that we are made in the likeness of the Creator. Meaning, if the Creator created this magical playground, then we are here to create within that playground. So we're mini me in that movie. We're like mini me's of the Creator, right? We are here to create. We are here to love, and we're here to create. So therefore, creativity may happen in what is the population of the world today?
7 billion.
7 billion different ways, and more. It happens in as many ways as there are human beings. It happens in what energy you bring here to meditate every Wednesday. It happens in how you connect with people in unique ways, or information in unique ways to make patterns in your mind and in your heart. It happens in how you make people laugh, how you treat someone when you deliver their pizza, how you run into someone in the bus and what you say when they ask you a question, how you treat a patient unconventionally, how you make something uniquely, how you write code to make machines work, how you study the moon and the stars, how you explore science, how you paint, how you sing, how you write, how you do drama, how you host a TV show, how Dennis and Gil spoke about our work on TV. That was their creativity. How you raise your child, how you make a small patch of garden, how you make love. The list is endless. The only thing required is to return to your true nature of love and express it in a skill or a medium that gives you joy. So we find that when we practice creativity in this way, this makes the world not only a beautiful and loving place, but it also naturally heals the planet. A definition of healing that we really love is a return to your true self. So when we have, is it getting too hot in here because I said making love? Did you translate that? So, to get back to my point, we find that the practice of creativity not only makes the world a beautiful place, but it also naturally heals the planet. And why do I say that? That's because one of the definitions of healing that we love is a return to your natural state. So when you hurt yourself, you have a little wound or a little scar or something, and then you put some antiseptic, but you just have to really watch it, right? You just have to watch it, and it comes back to its original self. So it heals, means it comes back to its original self. So if we can all be our original selves and just come back to it, we'll have a healed planet. And the other thing it does is that it awakens not only the creator and the healer within, but also the teacher within. Because once your true self is awake, you can't help but share your gifts. Delilah is sharing her beautiful blue interpretation of the world with her necklace with us, and she's sharing, she's making us smile, and she's teaching us something just by being herself. So then the healer, the technology worked, the healer within, the teacher within, and the creator within are all coming from the love within, right? It's all awakened from the love within.
And what we're finding is that as we do our work, we observe that it's transforming us continuously. On a daily basis, we find ourselves getting transformed, and also everyone else we work with. So whether it's people who take part in our creativity workshops, or folks who work closely with us on our magazine, Courageous Creativity, we're seeing new possibilities open up for them, new kinds of synchronicities, opportunities just come up in their lives. And we've seen people experience miraculous healing just by expressing their, simply finding their true nature and expressing their creativity. On top of all of that, when you think about the power of collective creativity, just like all of you are finding here at Infinite Love, the power of collective creativity is exponential. As you transform, the world around you transforms at a pretty miraculous rate. For example, let me share a little story with you that kind of took a life of its own, and we had no idea when it started. It was in early 2012 that Shahana and I found ourselves in a classroom of about 15 to 20 students. They're all pursuing their associate's degree at the time. Many of them had autism, and they had limited reading and writing capabilities. When we walked in there, their teacher said, think a little about what exercises you give them. They have some limitations in their reading and writing. We kind of left that aside and just went in to do what we came to do, which was to talk about creating possibility. Just do the workshop with that in mind, creating possibility. What does that mean? Little did I know at that time that I would be walking out of that room with tears in my eyes, truly moved by what their definitions of creativity were. They called it art of doing stuff freely. They called it doing things your own way. Imagination, story, making connections. It was amazing. Little did I know then that 1.5 years later, I would have worked with those same students and created a deep and a rich document with questions talking about their experiences, their educational experiences when they were young. And then I would be sharing that document with the teachers at my son's school. My son is 7, his name is Adit, and he has autism as well. So I was taking the experiences of these kids who had grown up, they're sharing their educational experiences from when they were young, what they wanted from their teachers. And I was sharing that with teachers at my son's school, And so I didn't know when I walked into that room that was what was going to come out of it. And now there's a chance that they're going to collaborate further. They're talking about doing a shared book club. They're talking about coming and talking to the teachers one-on-one. There's just all this excitement building up, and I'm just watching. I'm standing back and watching. So the world is transforming around me by just me keeping an open heart. And I'm finding that I'm receiving healing into my own life. And suddenly my roles, my different roles of a mother, or an educator, or a connector, all of them are just integrating into one.
And integrating into one, what does that mean? We write one with a capital O. And this is the beautiful thing about creativity. When each of us is the unique spark. When we went into that room with the kids, we went to play. We went as kids, they came as kids, they're grown kids. We asked them, what is creativity? They told us, we listened, we wrote them down. And that became an educational document. Nobody had to go to school to make that. We made it together, and it became one. And we find that this oneness happens at all scales. And a larger example is, that this year, organizations, and by the way, it started with Infinite Love. This year, our magazine is featuring organizations. Previously, in the last 3 years, we featured writers from all over the world in each issue, 7 writers from all over the world. And in each issue, a person from Australia who's a TED speaker might be connected to a person in Seattle who's her neighbor, and is connected to someone in Europe who's blind and writes poetry. And it could, so each issue around one theme was bringing 7 writers together, 7 creators together, and we have done 3 years of such issues. But this year, we called Infinite Love for an interview in June, and one of them said, I want to say something in an interview. Another one said, I want to say too. And I want to say too. And you saw the 4 women dancing here, right? So we got the idea from Infinite Love by talking to them, why not make issues, magazine issue on the whole organization. So this year, after Infinite Love, we're doing organizations for the whole year. What is happening with that is that even though they're talking to each other all the time, when they come together to do a magazine issue and produce something creative and beautiful, they are seeing themselves in fresh light. They are talking to each other in a different way. It comes together in a little book, and you will find that along with my books, we've got some magazine issues. You can look at them. They're very beautifully done. They understand their own mission, their own people, the people they serve, the people they communicate with differently. And now those magazines are read all over the world because they're free online. Our magazines every month, free online, beautiful 40-page magazines. And immediately Infinite Love's message is global. And we're just the connector, right? Thank you. And so it just takes a click of a button for oneness, for love to spread everywhere. And then what is happening is the organizations are meeting each other like human beings meet in this room. The organizations are meeting each other through our magazine and through our website, right? And so some examples we have is that Nukanti Foundation, who helps underprivileged children in Colombia, is connected to Dreamfly in Pakistan that helps underprivileged children. They have met physically, is that correct? And they are now working on a joint project. All because we are two sitting and being creative in Seattle in our houses, right?
In our basement.
In our basement. Shirin did an interview on Skype with an Olympian TED speaker in Australia in her pajamas. And the Australian TED speaker was also in her pajamas. It was really good. They asked about each other's kids, and they did the interview. And I know Vic is here. Vic knows about Janine Shepherd, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Janine, the person she interviewed, Janine was young and going for Winter Olympic sports. She was training, very amazing athlete. And she had an accident. Someone hit her, a vehicle hit her, and she became a paraplegic from here down. People told her she can never do anything. Well, 20 years later, she flies planes. And she has had children. She still has no sensation from here. She has had children. She's the speaker she interviewed in her pajamas. And
actually it's today that her daughter is trying out she's doing the Olympic sport, the same thing that her mom.
Yeah. So we had interviewed her, and we interviewed Vic for the Infinite Love, and now Vic already knew about her, of course, but they have an opportunity to meet where? Through the magazine, right? Globally. So globally we become one as well.
But, and yet, global always starts at the personal. And what I'm constantly humbled by is that as editor of the magazine, it seems to be not really my editorial work that's feeling or that's causing an impact, but it's more things like how I show up on the phone. How am I talking to everybody while I'm interviewing? How am I thinking about every word in every email that I write to a contributor? really being aware of what my energy is as we, so Shahana and I have a dream line of, we call them dream lines, we don't call them deadlines. We have dream lines of
If you're dead, what is the deadline?
So we have a dream line every month that, we want to publish our issue, we want to hit the launch button on the 1st of every month. That's our dream line. And then we let it go. We don't have Excel spreadsheets to sit and figure out. And we give our contributors their time. Once we've chosen somebody, we choose them fully. And we let them know, this is our dream line, we want your first draft by so-and-so, then we're going to edit, blah, blah. And then we let it go. We don't keep sending them emails, keep checking in, we leave it to the universe and we believe that it will happen. And so far, I think other than one issue, we've always clicked launch on the 1st of every month.
So what Shirin is describing is, an example of when we call ourselves infinite love, what does it mean? Does infinite love happen only on Wednesdays?
No.
Does it happen only on Sundays? Does it happen when you climb the bus and someone doesn't give you the correct change and you're annoyed? Does it happen then? Right? That's when infinite love happens. So when we're creating everything, we believe that we're creating everything all the time, all our experiences, all our stories, all our views of the world we are creating depending on how we are thinking about it when we're interacting, right? So if I say, weather is really bad, I just created bad weather. Because there's no bad weather, only wrong clothing, right? There's no bad weather. It's only rainy weather, or snowy weather, or bright weather, or warm weather. Where is the idea of bad? In the mind. And I created that. I created bad weather. The minute I said it's bad weather, I created a bad experience. So I created bad weather. Right? Weather is just the weather. It has no mood. So that means I can create bad people and good people. It's how I see. How Delilah sees me, she creates me. And I create her. So seeing the best in everyone is how we create them and how they create us. So that's what Shirin is talking about, that in the end, I can lecture here about creativity all day long in a Sunday Infinite Love session. But if I'm not creating every moment of my life, we can create tumors in the body. We create tumors in the body from resentment. It doesn't know where to go, so it says, okay, I'll be a tumor. Right? So we create our health. So with that constantly in heart, when I work with people as a creativity coach or catalyst, and I use many mediums, writing, speaking, visual art, theater, music, I'm stunned at what wakes up, what awakens in people. But again, like Shirin, mostly I'm stunned by what wakes up in me. Because to be like that, to be that mirror, I have to be loving all the time. I have to be watching my thoughts all the time. I have to be present all the time. And what happens most of the time, just on the other side of love, what do you think there is? Where is that coming from? Fear. Fear. Fear of survival. Fear that I will not have enough. Fear that that bad guy is going to get me. So fear is always there on the other side of love. And where there is fear, there is no love. So what do I do with this fear? Do you think I don't have it? Do you think I didn't have it in that room in there? I did. I had the fear. But fear has become another channel that I can just watch. And I can allow it to pass through my body. And I must show up as love every single time. If I'm coaching, if I'm guiding, if I'm speaking, I must show up as love for you, and I must become naked in that love. I must let go of a lot of ideas of how I should be, what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, and I must show up so that I encourage the person in front of me to show up naked. Because that's how we were born. We were born babies naked. So to do that daily, I have to reveal myself without being afraid. Right now, Dennis has me on camera. I don't know what he's going to do with that tape. Because I'm naked in spirit. I'm naked right now. Shirin is naked in front. Gil was naked, wasn't he? He was really naked earlier. He was crying. And we have him on tape. So he has to work around that fear of what that means. But he just let go. He showed his soul to you. And you saw him. You recognized him. Right? You recognized that. So amazingly, the biggest fear I have is to believe in my own amazingness. Right? Can it be true that I'm that amazing? Vic and I were talking about this a weekend. Vic and we were talking about it at lunch. He says, I just show up in a wheelchair and crack a joke, everybody laughs, and I think I didn't do any work, I don't deserve this. But can anyone show up in a wheelchair and make everyone laugh? Only Vic can do it, right? It's Vic and his spirit in a wheelchair that makes people laugh, right? He's being himself, and he's making no other effort. He's just being naked. He's just being Vic. And he's saying, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm going to roll out of here. And he makes us laugh, right? So, amazingly, when the world is dark, sad, difficult, sometimes it seems like the fellow who is laughing and the fellow who is loving is the insane person, the mad person. So my fear often is that I wonder if I'm insane. Am I crazy? There's a war going on, but I'm still being loving? So I have to work on that fear and to constantly live in the insanity, to constantly live in the uncertainty, to be blinded by my own light and others' lights as I work. And that seems to be the true work that I have to do. And every time I fail to be doing things in that way, I have to surrender even more and do it all over again, no matter how scary, how much fear shows up. There's no turning back on this path, I tell you. If you start going in your true nature, there's no turning back. These 4 women can disappear, but infinite love will carry on, right? So as I do, yeah, big hand for that. So as we all do this work, we find that in the end, we're just being witness to the other people. We awaken the creator, healer, and teacher within, and it awakens the creator, healer, and teacher in others.
And I get to be a witness to her as she does this amazing work. And I get to face my own fear. My fear that she's the writer, she's a great speaker, and what am I doing here? Like, why should I be there? You know, I just edit. I only do editing. I'm not that good at public speaking. I have those fears. And I have the fear of, oh, I'm so good behind the scenes, I don't really need to be up here. Can I just be sitting in there and watching and clapping? You know? And I get to face that fear. And so I want to share another story. And it's really scary to me because I feel afraid about taking any credit in this at all. It's all Shahana, but I'm going to take credit and I'm going to share this story with you guys just precisely because it makes me scared. So one of our creativity workshop participants, she lost her singing voice. She lost her voice when she was a child after a traumatic episode. She loved to sing, and something happened that shook her up and her voice was gone. She could not sing anymore. And then slowly some other aspects of her physical health began to get impaired, and she started receiving mysterious diagnoses, like, you know, doctors telling her they're not sure, and telling her things like nothing can be done, we don't know what it is. And she came to our creativity workshop. She actually took the workshop twice. worked with Shahana further one-on-one as well, and just started finding her creativity, her spark. And I'm excited to share that her voice is coming back strong. Her family life is healing, and the other things of her health are improving. And she's doing she has found a health and nutrition resource online. She is finding her own power, and she's truly awakened her own teacher. She's ready to teach other people. She has found her teacher within. And all that by just finding her spark, finding her true nature, and overcoming her fear to accept that, to not hide behind, I don't have my voice, so I can't do this, or my health isn't good, so that's what's stopping me. No, she was able to do all of it, and the other stuff is becoming okay too.
Another miraculous, thank you. We have many stories like this. This one is a miraculous example of a woman who was unable to conceive a child for 8 years in her marriage. Because a long time ago, she had suffered severe physical violence that had actually directly impacted her womb area. And eventually doctors told her that a pregnancy was impossible for her, and that even artificial means is impossible for her. Well, immediately after working with me on a very transformative creative project in which we told stories of female bodies and sexuality and abuse in Seattle. It's a public storytelling platform. 1,000 people saw the show over 3 weekends. It received funding from the Gates family project. It's very famous in that area. As she finished writing a story and sharing it, she conceived naturally. And she had a child, and he turned 2 this last week. Beautiful, saintly little boy. So we call this creating your stories away, giving your stories away. You create away the sadness or any difficulty, and you do it with love, and all of a sudden the body heals, and you create a new life. So these are the stories that make our hearts soar in the skies, our days really bright, and the lives that we lead worth every moment.
Let's talk about now, how do we find this true self? And how do you shine your light and love, your creativity? How do you do all of that? We're finding that this is an experience of daily discovery, every day working on editing, actually. What I'm finding is that as I shed layers and layers of my own falseness, my shoulds about what does it mean to be a good mother, what does it mean to be a woman, to be an Indian, to be a wife, as I continue to question, like really question that and shed that away, like what the shoulds are, and then I find that I'm closer and closer to my original nature, which has always been there. It's just been hiding behind all the conditioning, and it's ready to wake up and shine.
So you see, Shirin's talent of editing is the only talent we need. Right? Because what she really said there, remember, there's nothing wrong. So what she described, what she means when she says that creativity is an editing process, it's a little counterintuitive. We think we have to learn something. This is for our growth, for our learning. But what if I told you that you knew everything you needed to know here when you were born? And everything that you have been taking in from the universe and the world about what I should be, shouldn't be, is like the excess fat, garbage, excess stuff, that if you drop it and just be you, that brings your creative nature out. So if I told you that, then it is a process of unlearning and subtracting, editing, see? That's why she needs to be here. Rather than learning or adding or augmenting. So it is, remember the definition of healing? Returning to yourself, your original self. It is a returning to your childlike purity, a healing. It is like, you know, Michelangelo, the sculptor, the famous Renaissance sculptor, he said that his job as a sculptor was to notice the statue that is already hiding in the marble and free it by taking away the excess stone. So then, each of you, in this journey of becoming you, you are the stone, you are the sculptor, you are the chisel, and you are the sculpture hidden within. So that's what the book that Gil mentioned, the second book on creativity, is about. It says you're Michelangelo and you are David. David is his most famous sculpture. So what we're saying to you is that you are the sculptor and you are the sculpture. And what is the force that sculpts you?
Love.
Yes, love. I knew Delilah was it in the bright blue. Love is a force. Now, can fear create? Can fear create?
Yes.
What all did fear create?
Not good.
Diseases, okay. What all did bloodshed, I heard? Blockage, yes.
Destructive habits.
Yeah, destructive habits. Berlin Wall. Negativity. Addictions, yes. These are all creations. Pretty brilliant creations. And fear can create too. Right? Fear has created physical things. The bomb. Now the atom bomb was created with good intention, and then fear can use it with a negative intention too, right? So fear can create too, and like we said before, the fine line, the flip between fear and love, very fine, very fine. So to keep on looking inside to find the love as the creative force is our only true job. So you know, we keep saying be your true nature, be your true nature, be your true nature. What does that mean? How do we discover that?
So we want to share one idea that we have about what it feels like when you are in your true nature. How does that feel? We actually call it being in your tree nature.
So being your true nature and being your tree nature. In being your tree nature, what does that look like? Well, first there's a seed. Can you all see? The seed. The seed is just like a stone, right? Nothing. It seems lifeless. You can have it in jars at home, and it seems like it's got nothing. But everything it needs to be is inside. It's the potential hidden in that shell from the beginning. It's always there, and it's just waiting for the right moment, environment, nutrients, sun. Can the sunflower seed become an apple tree? Can Delilah become Malina? Okay, so that's one example. Did you have some ideas on what that means for you?
I actually like to talk about this year of my life. Someone recently asked me, I turned 40 this year, and someone asked me to someone asked me to reflect and said, do you have a best year of your life? You know, do you have this one year where you felt like, this was my year? And that got me thinking. I was thinking about it quite a bit. And I think it's actually this year. And I think I was thinking about why does this year feel so special? What's different about it? And I think it's this year that I feel closest to being me, feel closest to finding my true nature. And so someone asked me, how do you know that? How do you feel like you're closest? And it's just something in my body, like everything just seems aligned, it seems to flow, like I feel like I found the flow. Things are just easy. While outwardly, it might look like my life is, you know, filled with a 7-year-old kid with autism, a 3-year-old just like climbing over me all the time, but inside there's just so much peace, more peace than I've ever known. And I think it's because I just feel close to my seed. The
seed, the tree nature, she's closest to the tree that she is. So then, what does a seed do? Look, a seed can look like that in a spore, or like that, or like that. They're all seeds, but they're as apart, as different to look at as Delilah and Melina, but they're coming from the same place, that one place, right? But they express themselves. The creative expression is different, and each expression is the right expression. Another thing interesting that a tree nature does, look what happens when it breaks out of the seed. It actually has to break through. It has to go in the dark and break through and drop the shell. So to become the seedling, it has to shed. Did we just talk about shedding? It has to shed its previous existence, and it has to leave it behind. We talked all at lunch about leaving behind your stories, shedding your stories. It has to shed something to become something else. Do you have something?
Yeah. Let's see. So I grew up enjoying 2 subjects a lot: English, literature, and math. Like really good at math, really good at English. And somewhere along the way I was told you have to choose a path, you can't go both ways. And I chose math. I studied engineering, became a computer scientist, did my master's, joined a software company, was doing really well at my job. And then when somewhere along the way, like maybe 6 or 7 years back, it started feeling that there was this feeling of restlessness, that this is not me. You know, as much as I still enjoyed solving problems, I still was good at my job, I was doing really well, but it just felt like this something's not right. I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. But, you know, you've done your master's, you've studied, you've put in all this work into it, and this is what you have to be. And so 4 years back, when my little one was born, I decided to take a little break, go on maternity leave, and you know, go back to work in 3-4 months. And during that leave, I realized I don't want to go back to work. I'm really happy not being in front of a computer screen coding away. So I had to really question that. And then along the way, we also met and we started editing, and we created Flying Chickadee at the same time. And ever since, everyone kept asking me, you know, when are you going back to work? And I'm like, you know, I'm going to drop that story that if you study your life has gone a certain way, that means that's it for you. You don't have a choice. You can't change it. You can't find what truly makes you passionate. As I started editing, I found that was much more me. You know, connecting people, being a connector, that's me. And then people would question me. They're like, have you been to school for that? Have you taken an editing certification exam? I'm like, no, I've never done it in my life. This is the first time I'm doing it. But I'm good at it. I'm really good at it, and I love it. That's why I'm good at it. You know.
And then a new story came up to be shed. What does work mean?
Yeah.
Right? What does work mean? Did I leave my work? And what is this? Right? What is that doing? You'll find that when you're being creative, when you shed that seed, work and play, same thing. Right? We all know that. I hear a lot of yup, yup, yup all around the room. Work and play, the same thing, right?
And it's sometimes hard for the world to accept that, or not the world, but I mean for people around you sometimes to accept that. I still get asked that question, when are you going back to work? Because, you know, it encourages creativity.
Guess what? We're going to work to McAllen, Texas.
Right. So this helps a lot, thank you.
That's why we're work. This is our work, this is our play, this is our service, all the same thing, right? So next, what does it do? It also, if you think about it, it's turning mud to food. It turns compost to food, waste to food. So when these ladies talk about their years of suffering that opened their hearts and brought infinite love into birth, I call it turning compost into food. So who would know that your suffering is actually your food? Your suffering is your food. You were being given the food to convert it to life. And that's what the tree does. The seedling does. The next thing it does, is that it always starts in the darkness, in that suffering or the darkness, and it moves the rest of its life towards what? The light. So it moves from the darkness to the light. Of course, we all have stories about moving toward the light. And then it reaches for the sky. It puts his arms out and it reaches for the sky. As far out as it can, even if it's a short tree. That's what it does, right? At the same time, you have a story.
Yes,
Yes.
This is how we first started out Courageous Creativity. We had just Shahana had written her first book. It's a collection of short stories. It's called 10 Avatars. I had edited it. We had a lot of fun together, and we're like, let's keep doing this. This is really fun. So we thought when Flying Chickadee was first formed, it was going to be, we're going to help people publish their books. And then we thought, you know, people want to publish, but a book is a much bigger project, so people are putting thought into it. It's going to take longer. We need something that we can start working on now.
We can't wait. We have to play.
So I don't remember exactly how the idea, I think you heard it on the radio.
Yeah, it's like little edits at a time. Edit is what? Little things at a time. So if you can't do a whole book, let's collect small stories in one place. What is small stories in one place called? A magazine. Yes, thank you. Yeah, sign too.
Yeah, so we thought we're going to do a magazine. Now, do either of us have any magazine experience or know what it's all about? No. Do we know who's going to write for our magazine? No, but we're going to do a magazine. So we did reach for the sky, and our very first issue was with people we knew, our friend, my neighbor's daughter.
Other contacts, and we wrote emails over the world, and we got contributors.
Yeah.
So we reached for the sky. There's a writer who says, when you want to leap, go fly in the clouds, because the competition there is very low. No one is trying to fly in the clouds. Everyone is trying mid-ground. So just go directly there. There's no competition.
And then we started thinking, you know, as we came up with the ideas, we started just emailing people like who seemed kind of unreachable, you know, like people who've written books or given TED Talks or been on TV or something. We thought, why not just ask? And then people really want to share their stories. They're just waiting to be asked. The more we ask, the more, almost everyone always says yes. In the beginning it would surprise me, and then I got used to it.
There's a saying that if you hear no, what they're saying is not now.
Maybe.
And it was really fun, and then slowly over time, as we kept working with my neighbor, my son's teacher, and another supposedly famous person in the same issue, there was no line finally between us and them, and you know, famous, not famous, what does that mean?
Famous and not famous are what? In the mind, like bad weather or good weather. So we reach for the sky. And at the same time, what does the tree do? It deepens its roots. It goes and it gives back. I love the banyan tree. I like to be the banyan tree. So it goes back into the soil too. It deepens its roots, it reaches for the sky, and it doesn't think of the two things as two separate directions, does it? It does both of it. There's no competition between the two things. So when we think, one big thing in creativity is to integrate opposites. You think, how can I do this, but that's opposite to that? Change it and think, this will lead to that, even though you can't see. And when you have some time for questions, ask me about that, and I'll give you a better example. The next thing the tree does is that it flows with the seasons. It flows with the seasons. And the other thing it does is that it stands still in the midst of change. It can stand still in the midst of change. And then finally, it starts to give. It bears fruit. It has flowers. It converts carbon dioxide to oxygen and gives back fresh air so we can all breathe, right? And it provides shade. It provides home. It stands happily alone, and it merges as one also. So, honor the unique seed that you are. Honor the unique seed that each of you is, in which there is no place for comparison, no place for measurement, no standard, because each of you is your unique self, and there is no other Delilah, I'm telling you. There just is no other Delilah. And break through, like that seed shell. There's a hard shell around each of us. Become naked like Gil was. Break through to the love behind. And guess what? We were looking for tree images. Guess where we found that one? On the Infinite Love Facebook page. Because doing that makes a better world. Doing that makes a better world. Now, the tree, when it bears fruit and flowers and gives shade and shelter, all of those things, is it thinking? Let me go become an activist and change the world? Is it trying to do those things? Is it trying to say, I'm going to work really hard and purify the air so all these human beings can breathe better?
Just normal.
It's just part of who it is. So remember that if you are having to struggle to give service too much, that's not love actually. That is an idea of love. Love is when you roll into a grocery store on a wheelchair like Vic does, and just by being himself, people laugh. He was saying at lunch to us that, but I don't do anything. I just have to be me, and people like and lighten up. So I'm not doing anything hard, so maybe I'm not doing anything. I'm like, you know what? How many people can be in a wheelchair and make others laugh just by being themselves? Only Vic can. So Vic is being a tree because he's being his tree nature. He is doing what he's doing by just being himself. He's not got huge ideas about, I'm going to go change the world. You can have that dream that the world will be a good place, a better place. But in being your tree nature, what it feels like, I'm discovering this more and more, when I'm having fun, someone else is having fun around me. I'm giving oxygen. But if I have to think hard about how to give you oxygen, it's a subtle idea to take home, to understand that you just are in your nature, and it's just normal. I think I heard you say natural. What is your name?
Alejandra.
Alejandra. Thank you. It was a beautiful thing you said. Just part of being itself. So that's what being in your. That's why we say tree nature, true nature. It is effortless. It's being you. As part of being you, you give joy, you give fruit, shade, shelter, oxygen, all of these things. So this is the example that we keep in our hearts when we serve. Always love is good for you, and the other. I think Gil said that earlier. Serving others is serving yourself is serving other. It's natural to you. So that is where we pause for sharing our thoughts, and that's where we pause for offering. And we would love to hear. We will take a break, but before we take a break, after the break we'll do more dialogue. But right now, just quickly, I would love everyone to close their eyes and say what thoughts jump out from everything you heard right now. Quickly, one by one, you can say tree nature, creativity, love. Or you can say, what does creativity mean to you? Any thoughts, just tell us. We want to listen.
Just be.
Just be.
Become naked in that love. Break through.
Out of the shell.
It's effortless.
Okay. Just be. Become naked.
Love me.
Pardon me?
Love me.
Love me.
Love me. I heard more.
Breakthrough.
Breakthrough.
Love ourselves.
Breakthrough. Let it go.
Effortless.
Effortless.
Fun. Play.
Fun. Play.
Release.
Release.
Playground. You mentioned playground.
Playground.
Crack the shell.
Crack the shell.
Become.
Crack the shell.
Play, don't work.
Become.
Yeah.
Laugh.
Reach for the sky.
What's that word?
Reach for the sky.
Reach for the sky.
Discover.
Just do it. Love. Just do it.
Infinite.
Infinite.
Love.
Bee.
Like a bumblebee.
Oh, like a bee.
You are who you think you are.
You are who you think you are. Who?
Free of judgment.
Be yourself.
Okay.
Love yourself. Be yourself.
Laugh.
Free. Hold on. Free of judgment.
Living.
Living.
Lovingly living.
Discover.
Laugh.
Just be me.
Laugh. Lovingly
Laughter is
living.
medicine.
Discover, laugh, just be me. Fearless.
Smile.
Edit.
Edit. Thank you.
No more deadlines. Dreamlines.
Streamline.
I love that one.
Smile.
Okay, wait. Don't want to lose anybody.
When I saw you smile, that attracted me to you right away. Yeah, beautiful smile.
Smile. Thank you. Thank you. We constant change.
Grow.
Unmasked.
Light.
Powerful beyond measure.
Powerful beyond measure.
Shameless.
Ah, lovely.
Naked.
Naked.
Healthy.
Healthy.
Then I know you got that one. What? I heard some.
Be healthy.
Fair enough to be healthy.
I got healthy.
People.
Bold.
Be bold. Be bold.
Shameless.
Be bold.
Unbold.
That is naked. Oneness.
Making love. Making
Ah, I was waiting for that one. You ready to tell you? I heard oneness and making love together.
Awaken.
Enjoy it.
Awaken.
Awaken.
Make people laugh.
Make people laugh.
Laugh at yourself.
Nice.
The world is a tree.
Pride.
Yeah.
Pride.
Crying.
yourself, you have to have pride.
Pride also.
Harmony.
Pray.
Yeah, be in the moment.
Be consciously present.
You
Harmony.
in the moment.
Yeah. Mindfulness.
Mindful.
Don't be afraid to leave the dark.
That is a
Out of
great
darkness.
one because we're afraid to leave the dark.
Indian time is now.
Be the light.
Indian time is now. Yes, Indian American Indian, what time is it? I'm gonna tell you, now.
Live in the moment.
Don't worry.
Mindfulness.
I heard complete.
Yeah, complete. Be the light.
Be the light.
Fruit of the tree.
Fruit of the tree.
Create.
Create. Freedom.
The Aztecs say if you're not creative, you're destructive. You have no choice. You have to be one or the other.
If you're not creative,
You're destructive. That's it. You have to be creative or destructive. There's no middle road.
Forgive yourself.
Yeah, forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
forgive yourself.
Let the fear flow out of your body.
Yes.
What was that?
Let the fear flow out of your body.
Heal.
Feel.
Do like the Italians do. Hug and kiss everybody you meet.
Kiss everybody.
That's right.
Acceptance.
Shalom. If you're not,
If you're not at peace, you are not complete. That's what it means.
What's this concept of growing in the two directions? I don't know how to explain it. You all did so well with that. The roots.
The reach for the sky and the,
Yeah, at the same time.
you know, for example,
grounded.
for the reach for the sky, we talked about finding magazine, you know, going everywhere, taking off. And the roots could be, we practice stillness a lot, like being really still and centered. Like you have all these dreams and then you stay still with your energy. Like, you know, you're not constantly reaching out and saying, hey, where's this, where's that? Like busy, like, you know, finding your center and being grounded, being still.
Sing. S-I-N-G, what you did in the beginning, that's fantastic.
Is that answer your question?
Yeah.
People sing, wow.
you know, sing has many meanings. Sing
Sing your song.
Sing has many meanings. If you think about science, it suggests that the universe started with a big bang. If you look at many cultures, the Bible says sound and God, before God, there was the word, right? The sound, word, sound vibration, the creation energy, the first vibration. What happens when we're born? First thing we do is cry. We do it for two reasons.
Happy crying.
We have the first feeling of separation from our true parent. So there's grief, but we say, I'm here. There's gratitude, right? Both grief and gratitude in the voice. This area, the throat chakra, is coming from our heart, from our base, through our heart, and expresses who we are. So there is a responsibility in that, though. There's a responsibility. There's a power and a responsibility in what comes out of here, right? There's both. Because what comes out of here is what we're creating in the world. It's a sound energy. And that's why you notice that even before I sang and Shirin shared the poetry, by the way, what I sang, the music came through me. The melody came through me on July 2nd this year. It came to me, word by word, how to compose it. And Shirin read the meaning of the poem, but even before that, the ladies were dancing. You started with song. You created sound vibration. All tribe cultures have clapping, drumming, sound, your voice. So sing has many meanings to me and to us. Those of you who can sing in the traditional way, produce more music with each other. But everyone can sing, actually. So thank you for that reminder. Sing. Big and bold.
Any more? Any more coming out of closed eyes?
What I thought about when I saw the tree was as it grows and you're grounded, the more you grow, and you're developing whatever you're working at, you're becoming an expert. Your roots are getting deeper.
Fantastic.
The deeper your roots go, the higher you were able to reach.
Deeper your roots go, the higher you ask the question, what is a relationship, right? So opposite directions, but it's going both directions. We have a tendency to think that we can't go two directions, but actually we can when we look at that, right? I can't be a mother and a professional. So in creativity we can integrate. We say, what if the professional is the mother is the professional, right? We integrate. Thank you for that very much. The higher you go, the deeper you go, and you're stable that way, right?
And also, I create you and you create me. That was
you like that?
That was mind blowing.
Fantastic. Okay, I create you and you create me, because I create you in how I believe, right? And you create me in how you see me. In this moment, yes.
You're referencing balance in a lot of places. Balance.
Balance.
Everything's balanced.
Thank you. The tree going deep and high is balance. Yes.
A tree is amazing. It's a home to all kinds of life.
Yes.
The palm trees are condominiums. Certain insects live here, certain insects here, and then birds up here.
The palm tree is a condominium. Praying.
Before you go to the light, you go to the darkness, and that's when you break the shell to be who you really are.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Lovely. Break the shell. Before you become the tree, you're in the darkness, and you use your suffering for food.
Yes.
And you become, but then you leave it behind, right? If you carry that story of suffering, it's like the seedling trying to carry that shell along to become a tree. Can it reach for the sky? It cannot.
But the tree's not so much in darkness, it's in the womb.
It's in the womb.
And mud, you never call that for granted. Mud, it's Mother Earth. Okay?
That's right.
It's soil.
It's soil. It's soil. But there's ideas of soil that it's dirt. There's ideas of soil that it's compost, it's waste.
It's recycled material.
That's correct.
We're going to be recycled.
That's correct. That's correct. We're going to be recycled too. Self-supportive.
Acceptance.
Unity. Acceptance. Shirin is writing very fast.
Allowing.
Allowing.
Getting away of yourself.
Getting out of the way of yourself. Unity, acceptance, allowing. Oh my God, getting in the way, out of the way of yourself is absolutely the only thing I often like to say to mothers. The only thing you need to do is witness your child. Witness your child. And get out of its way. Witness your child. What? Observe.
My child looking at me
and get out of its way.
I would have trouble with my daughter telling me that.
Be loving, witness your child, and get out of her way.
Love like a child. Like Jesus said in the Bible too, and everybody else. Love like a child.
Love like a child. Okay, you have raised your hand so politely. Think infinite love. Think infinite love.
Yeah, you are what you think, right?
You are what you think. And I create you and how I think about you.
Contrast.
Projects.
I'm sorry, it's a contrast.
Contrast. You want to say more about that?
In order to experience the positive, you have to experience the negative.
Okay. You know light when you see dark.
Right.
Okay, with that we'll take a break. There's some snacks, right? And then we'll have more conversation.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind you all that as Rain quickly brought to mind, everything here is volunteer donation driven. So if you have any clothing, especially coming up into the cold weather, that you can pass forward so that we can pass it on to the needy, that would be wonderful. And as I mentioned earlier, our guest speakers are here doing this entirely voluntarily, out of the kindness of their hearts. They also provided a large part of the snacks and meals which were offered in the kitchen area. So, as a sign of gratitude, if you feel like you're walking away and have something to be thankful for, please express some of that. We have a donation box by the door, where you can contribute. All contributions being collected today are going to be passed forward to Shahana and Shirin. One thing I'd like to mention is that on their website, flyingchickadee.com, they offer workshops and one-on-one consultations, as they were telling you those magnificent stories about. And if you'd like to schedule, if you're not internet friendly or web friendly, you can get in touch with Malka, and she can help you set up that one-on-one consultation. So worry not, even if you don't have a computer, if you can't make it out to Seattle, it's a far trip. I wouldn't be going out to Seattle. I'd be doing it web-based myself. But even if you don't have a computer, we'll help you get in front of the computer where you can sit with them face to face. So don't worry about being web-friendly or techie or anything like that. We'll help you out. Please help us out by collecting your disposables from the meal so that we can tidy up the place a lot quicker afterwards. And
I'll go around and collect some if they got it.
oh, great. Rain's going up and down, so just pass that on to the outside of the rows.
Donation later, Bill.
And
What about chairs after the session?
do you want a few guys to stick around? I mean, if anyone can stick around, a few gentlemen that can help us fold them up, that'd be great, because we do have to get these off the floor. So that'd be great, and with no further ado, I'm going to pass. Okay.
I'm sorry. We just wanted to thank Sahadi, who brought wonderful food for us here today. So give him a big hand, Sahadi. Wasn't it delicious? Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So I would like to ask our special guests to please come and enlighten us some more.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the wonderful food from Sahadi. We went there for lunch today and got such a warm welcome, thanks to Infinite Love's relationships with them, and of course their big hearts. So this portion is all two-way creation. Two-way creation. So thoughts, questions, curiosities, ideas, comments, everything is welcome. Sure. Is there someone who can pass the mic? Okay.
Who would like to? Any questions? No?
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Malina. About synchronicity? Sure. So, Melina asked about synchronicity. Synchronicity literally means happening at the same time. Synchronous, at the same time. And what we've discovered is that the more and more we're in our true nature and true aligning with our true nature, because the entire universe is actually within us, we're aligning with the universe. So in aligning with our true nature, we align with the universe, and I find that things that seem to take linear time from now till then, 2 days, 5 days, year, we think, oh, it'll take time someday. There's an instantaneous connection. Yes, who said that? Thank you. Instantaneous connection between my intention when I align with my true self and what I see outside, in the outside playground. You guys like that word, right? In the playground, it just shows up. And a lot of people talk about signs. right? Signs that guide us. A little bit different from synchronicity, which is when I'm in the pure idea-less, actually, thought-less, oneness space, my imagination wakes up. Not my thinking, my imagination wakes up. And what I see in my imagination here, I see projected in the outside world, and the linear time experience between now and then or future becomes smaller and smaller, so it's synchronous, it's at the same time. And the more in oneness I am, I see that the synchronicity, even if I can't physically see it, I know that if I have felt it, it's true somewhere. It's true somewhere else, in some other space, some other time, some other universe, parallel, I don't know, but I experience. I'll give you an example, because suddenly I see Naomi standing here. Yesterday was the second day we were here. We were here Friday late in bad weather. No, just stormy weather, just cold weather. And I was a little bit tired. And Geeta was driving us in the afternoon from the hotel to lunch maybe. And we're just noticing a fruit orchard and a brick manufacturing place. And I commented that, and then Shirin commented, we have view of the fruit orchard from our window. And when we observe things, we become in the quiet space. And I just observed that I also lost my grandpa this week. So I have some grief, and I have some things in my body, and I know, because true love is always loving yourself as well, I want to be here and give pure energy to this space. So suddenly, for no reason, I close my eyes, in my imagination I see massage. Now, why will I come from Seattle to McAllen for a massage? I should have gotten the massage in Seattle. But I say to Geeta, I have a very weird question. She says, nothing is weird. I said, well, I know, and the fruit orchard is very pretty, and I need a massage. Is there a place for a massage? She goes, yeah, we can call someone and she said she might get booked up. We should call her right away. And I said, here's the trick, though. I asked, right? But I let it go right away. I said, no need to call. I just asked, and it will appear. If a place appears, something appears, we will take the opportunity. We have lunch. Geeta drops us off at lunch, and after lunch, she goes somewhere else. She has to go to some other meeting. So she has not talked to the 3 other women. We come here to prepare the technology. The second person who greets us is Naomi. And she says, I want to offer you a massage. The time gap between my imagination and Naomi appearing, 2 hours precisely. That is synchronicity.
That's awesome.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Naomi.
My joy.
Question I like about when you say about creativity and autism. I'm a special needs teacher. 3/4 of my students are autistic. And what I do, I've never thought about creating. I've never thought. Why don't you have this? Okay. I'm a special needs teacher. 3/4 of my students are autistic, so I'm really interested in this. I've never thought about being the way you said about being creative. What I do is every day and every night, every morning, I just pray. And I pray over them because, like they say, there's a piece of a puzzle missing. Every day I don't know how they're going to be. If there's a change in the weather, an assembly, we have to leave the room, they're screaming. And I literally just pray over them. And I never thought about creating my thoughts to have them have a good day. So could you give me some ideas on that? Because I welcome it. And every day, I pray for wisdom, understanding, patience, and love, and you know what I'm saying. And I'm their mother, so it goes on the circle of love. But I really need more knowledge on the creativity, because all I do is pray. And my principal says they're going to fire you. You can't pray. And I go, Jesus is my attorney. But the parents ask me, please pray. We don't know what to do with them. And you know what I'm saying? Not that they have good and bad days. And so on those bad days, they're screaming and yelling.
Do they have good and bad days?
Oh no, they have wonderful days. Every day. Every day. In every way, they're getting better and better. Amen. So if you could just give me some pointers.
You know, I think you're already on the right track. I think praying is amazing. The only other Step in. How is that? Okay. Is it working? Yeah.
Yes.
So the only other thing I would add is observe, like, being a witness, and forget about what you have to teach them or what you have to do to take care of them, and let them be your teachers. My son teaches me every day. Every day he has a lesson for me, and once I'm freed from that, from thinking I have to fix him, I have to teach him, I have to take care of him, I have so much freedom in my mind that I can listen to his messages. Shahana's always telling me, create a website, write down what Adit tells you, what are you learning from him? There's so much.
It's all for you. Say it again.
The energy in here is so strong, it keeps killing my batteries. Oh, I did that too. They died in a week.
So I actually wanted to first thank you for your question. They're really blessed to have a teacher like you. So I want to say thank you for being a teacher to them. And thank you for praying for them. That's amazing. You're already doing what you need to do. And just free yourself from thinking that you are responsible for them and you have to fix them in any way. They're all.
At the end of the day, it was a good day, but it wasn't so late. It was that, so I'm saying, now I'm going to create and say, you can do this, it's going to be a great day. When it's like that, I just pray. I just pray. I take the worst one and pray. I could get fired for this guy, so shit. You're not supposed to pray, but I don't know what else to do. And so I'm going to create. I like that idea.
Yeah, and every time you feel like you want to do something, just look in yourself and see what can I do different today. If somebody's crying a lot, I know I find it hard when my son does that, but think of crying as something else, like, not being able to express how you feel. You're expressing yourself by crying. It feels jarring to the ear, it's hard, and we want to fix it immediately. But you know what, sometimes if you just let them cry, they will come out of it by themselves, right? We just leave them alone.
Hear them or touch them, and on their own, they just calm down.
Yeah. You are praying, that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, I wanted to add to what this discussion.
It's too electric, man.
Maybe you can stand up and then go. People need to get up.
Okay, I think if you can come up here and ask your question.
Okay, I'll look at you. I'm an educator too, and that moment of silence, sometimes it's a minute of silence, they say on the intercom, and it's a moment of silence. I like the moment because sometimes the moment's longer than a minute. And there was this guy that came up to me the other day, a teacher, and I was outside for that moment of silence. And I stood there, and I prayed. And he's busy talking. Yeah. I just looked at him. And he was like, well, I don't know about this moment of silence. And I'm like, but it is a moment of silence. And whatever you choose to do in your moment, that's your business.
This is my moment.
That's right. So if you want to pray for your students, that is your right. And don't let anybody take that away from you, and don't feel guilty.
You can come up here and can you come up here?
I want to, as you come up, I want to offer one more thing. When we asked the question, was the child having a bad day, or was it a bad day? It's not to say, we're not putting a positive thought on the difficulty, on the pain, on the suffering. We're acknowledging that there was pain, or tears, or rain, or thunderstorm. The bad meaning is our creation. The label bad is our creation. But we're not running away from the fact that it was difficult or pain. There was some pain, or there was some tears, or there was, what she says, being an observer means that we're free of trying to change what is. Because when we evaluate it as bad, we want to try and change it from what it is. So observing, taking a moment of silence, and there are two sides. Praying, I think you heard this from the Brahma Kumaris last Sunday. Praying is talking to God. Meditating is listening to God. You heard that last Sunday, I think? So meditating in no thought, emptying yourself, is the other alternative to praying. You can do both. And the other is when you're empty of evaluating it as good or bad, then what happens is that all possibility opens up because you're empty. You know, when I say I create you, you create me, every time I'm saying bad day, bad day, bad day, I'm creating that filter on it. But if I'm empty and I'm saying the child is crying and I'm observing, now the possibility of what opens up for that child, him or her, is wider. And so you've created a bigger canvas for his experience. Does that make sense? So you can pray, and you can talk to God and listen to God in that presence. So both options.
Para que me pueda entender mejor, lo voy a decir en español, porque no quiero tener ningún error. Primero que nada, gracias a Alka por darme la oportunidad de estar aquí, porque conozco muchas personas que han hecho grande mi vida en la comunidad hindú. Gracias, yo fui casada con un hindú y ahora, bueno, es muy triste explicarles esto, pero lo tengo que decir porque yo no me gusta quedarme con lo que yo tengo aquí. Llegué aquí y tenía programado estar aquí, pero llegué con un poco de tristeza porque hace 2 horas me hablaron, sí, de mis hijos. Me hablaron de la iglesia, yo estaba en Holy Spirit, me hablaron que mis hijos habían tenido un accidente, mis 2 niñas, una de 15 años y otra de 13 años. Y me sentía muy triste porque no podía venir a la reunión. Pensaba que no iba a venir, pero hice el intento y aquí estoy. Y por eso quiero compartir esto con ustedes, porque es un poco difícil. ¿Qué haces cuando tus hijos no valoran todo lo que has hecho por ellos? Si siempre has tratado de ser una persona ejemplar para ellos. Mi padre me decía que los 5 dedos de las manos no son iguales, son diferentes, pero yo lo entiendo bien eso y siempre he tratado de ser un mejor ejemplo para ellos, ¿verdad? Pero esto que pasó hace poquito me duele mucho, porque les he dado todo mi tiempo y todo mi amor, y ahí está, ¿verdad? Pero yo quisiera que usted me dé un consejo, y perdónenme a todos, pero yo lo digo de mi corazón. Yo quisiera que usted me dé un consejo, ¿cómo puedo reaccionar ante esta situación que me acaba de ocurrir? Sí le pido mucho a Dios, pero yo sé que ahí está profesionalmente mucha fuerza de ustedes, y me gustaría que me dieran una dirección. ¿Qué puedo hacer? ¿Será más comunicación, más diálogo, quitar cosas, o no sé? Pero perdónenme a todos, por favor.
Alicia has given gratitude to the community that has embraced her, has been very kind in embracing her. And she's posing a question to both of you about what it is to be a mother when you find yourself giving the best of your guidance and you are not received by your children's intelligence, or she seems to feel that they disregard her and they don't appreciate her. And her father used to tell her, you know, each finger on your hand is different. So you never know what one person is going to be like. You cannot expect what the other one is going to be like. Everyone is different. But she is suffering because she doesn't feel appreciated as a mother. What is your suggestion? And they just had an accident.
The daughter.
The two daughters. Before coming into this reunion. They had an accident, 13 and 15-year-old.
My older my son,
What you have been speaking has been very touching to my heart.
What is touching?
All of the things that you have said, everything that has been spoken here has been very moving.
So, your two children being different. Two children being different.
Alicia, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you. I can understand how you must be feeling and how painful it can be when you're doing your best and you feel frustrated because you don't see any results and you feel like you're just giving and giving and giving. I think if you just stop doing it for them, if you just stop doing what you're doing and for them or to see a result, and just do it because it feels good to you to do it, because it feels like the right thing for you to do. You know, you want to do it just because you're their mother and you feel it, but you're not looking for a result or not looking for them to change because of what you're doing. Just do it for you. Just find you and do it for you. And just leave the rest up to God. And just trust yourself. Just keep trusting yourself that you are doing the best you can do. Just keep trusting yourself. And observing and being loving to yourself too. First to yourself, always first to yourself. Love yourself first. Love yourself first. You are already the best mother you can be. You're already doing that. So just trust yourself and do it for you. Do it for you.
You know, we also spoke about being the tree. The tree is first the tree itself. The fruit it gives is after it has grown up to give the fruit as an outcome of it being the tree first, the natural tree, right? So who is Alicia first? Who is Alicia? Love Alicia first, love the inner child in you, and then your children will see that light from the inner child of you. First love Alicia, you. It's sometimes difficult for mothers to think that I have time for myself, to fill myself, because if we are dark, cannot give light, right? So be Alicia. First be Alicia, be the tree, flower, fruit that Alicia is. The third thing is she got at that, detachment. Detachment? Attachment is like that. Attachment means that I am tied to the result, outcome, right? So if the child is falling, mother is falling. If child is having an accident, mother is having an accident right now in the feelings. If child is doing very good grades, mother is getting good grades. So, you know.
It sounds funny, but it's true.
Isn't it? It sounds funny. So what is that? Well, that means you are a victim of you're having had a child. You're attached. But remember, the child is its own tree. Child is its own tree. It came from a spore, a seed from you, fell to the ground. You're watching it. You're giving it shade, nutrients, love. But the child is its own tree. Detachment means you observe with love, but just because the child had an accident, you didn't have an accident right now. Right? A child gets grades, you didn't get grades. Child became rich or poor, you didn't become rich or poor. Many people think that love is attachment. Love is ability to stand as your own tree and shine light so that the other becomes lit, right? But if we get dark, does the sun get dark? No, the sun still shines. So the parent's job, detachment, observe with light. For that, first you have to have light. So Alicia, who's Alicia? Who's Alicia? Bring Alicia out, smile, laugh, pray. I think you laugh quite a bit. Right? And watch, observe. You're trying, yes you are, because you're so brave to come here and speak up. Everybody goes through what you're going through, but you're speaking out. When we observe, we create actually. When we observe with love, we create. Just like we talked about, observation in neutrality without good and bad means we just expanded the canvas. Bad only has one shape. Good has one shape. But when we become neutral, canvas to paint becomes large. So for neutral, detach. Detach. They're the tree. There's another thing. When we have faith, why do we worry? Have you ever asked that? If we have faith, why are we worried? That means we're thinking the parent is gone. That's why we're worried. Then we have faith? No. Because we're worried. So we read somewhere that worry, I love you so I worry about you. You know, we think that is love. I love you so I worry about you. That kind of love, worry, is like putting skulls and debris and garbage in a bag with a bow and saying, thinking of you. Sending a present with garbage, putting a bow, thinking of you. I'm worrying about you. I'm going to send my garbage to you. Right? Worry is creation of problems. Right? Trust. They're God's children. They're not your children. Your children are not your children.
No, I wanted to tell you that in English or Spanish? Okay. No, that I'm sure most of us as moms, we have that feeling before, but when I realized that I was feeling that way with my son, I decided to love him unconditionally without getting anything back. You know, I commit to myself, I'm going to help this person until he's in a specific age or situation, regardless how it turns out. So just give love, detachment. But I had that feeling too, and he was treating me the way you described, but I just decided to just love him, help him, and just conclude my responsibility as a mom.
Same thing with the father. The father has to do the same thing.
One other thing I wanted to add is sometimes this helps me is if I think of my child as a soul. Like he looks like a little child to me, but he's his own soul. I have to take care of myself, and then I'll have something to give him. But if I keep giving all the time, and then I blame him and resent him that, you know, because of him I'm not happy, or he's not giving me what I need. But I'm putting all this pressure on myself, saying that, you know, this is my child, he has autism, I need to take care of him. He's not saying that to me. I'm doing that. So for example, when I left my job working in software, everyone said, you know, your son's in autism, you need to go be a special ed teacher, do autism advocacy, take up, you know, but that's not where my heart was. My heart was in doing what I do. It fills me up. Doing the magazine Courageous Creativity fills me up so much that I work really hard editing, and then when my son comes home, I have so much to give to him. I have patience, I have love. He comes back home upset or cranky, just like, you know, he's had a big day, and I have love to give him because I filled myself up first. And if I can remember that he's him and I'm me, and we're not attached, like Shahana said. He's his own soul, I'm my own soul.
And I'll add that he's a gift to you to teach you that no one else could have. Isn't that wonderful?
That's very beautiful. Thank you. Was there anybody else who had a comment or question? Go ahead.
Thank you for all these wonderful lessons. And one of the things I realized that I thought I was letting go of my stories. And I realized from today's event that I have stories I haven't let go of, I've just buried. Stories things that have happened to me that I've never even revealed. And so now, how do I address those? Because I thought by not mentioning them, I'd released it. But the truth is, I'm still tied to it because it's buried back there. So, how do I move forward from that? I mean, I haven't finished reading your book. I'm sure it's in there. But if you can give me the cliff notes, I'll appreciate it.
You did?
Yes.
Which one?
I know you. Right?
Oh, you did?
I know you. Right?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I would like you to share. Gil, thank you. You know, I think you started today. Why Gil was crying and why he was moved is he was releasing his unspoken stories. When he was talking about the 4 women who converted their compost, the soil, to light, to the plant, he was feeling his unspoken stories. And he was releasing them in the tears. So it is extremely powerful when you resonate with someone and you may not have spoken your stories, but you revealed today. And very powerful when you do it in witness. Remember, we're talking about witnessing? So all these people saw you and witnessed you. And I know she says she knows me, but everyone knows you in that moment. They know who Gil was because he revealed. He did not tell us any stories of himself, but he actually did. I think you all felt it, right? So in that that is what I mean by being creative and being naked. He didn't have to write a book or tell a long story, but he brought his entire love here. You heard with love. In that collective oneness, you just released a lot of your stories. You may not know that. So if you keep bringing yourself, your real nature, open-hearted self, to this kind of express. Sometime you may have some of these unrevealed stories come out. They may become poems. They may become songs. They may become objects. They may become interactions. It doesn't have to be that we have to just, off-gas all the stories and reveal. But every time you reveal of yourself and you're witnessed in love, you just released and gave away your stories. So you have already started the process in infinite love. So you started to do that. That is at the level of what's already going on. But I think what I'm latent in my response is that when you create something out of it, art, you can dance away your stories. There are so many ways to move energy. When you move energy, you give up your stories. And you can write, you can paint, you can do it by listening and learning from your child and observing your child. There are many, many ways to give up stories. And when you give away the stories, another thing that happens is that when we come to nakedness, we're used to our stories. So we don't want to give them away because they become our identity. I want to carry it on because, oh my God, don't tell me that didn't happen to me. Something bad happened to me after 9/11. Someone was racist to me. I want to tell that story again and again and again because it's my story, it's my story. What I'm trying to say, give away your story means make it something beautiful. Make it a poem, put it in a book, touch someone's heart. It's not your story anymore. It's gone. It's just a poem. Leave it. Leave it. It's not that you've forgotten it. It's there for you to use if you need to use it. But a big difference between saying, I am a survivor of, I am a survivor of, and I once had cancer. I once was in a violent situation. I once wore a black dress and spoke at infinite love. All the same, just stories. I am a cancer survivor. I am a survivor of violence. I am I am. What am I creating? I am all these, I'm identified with my stories. Now I have a huge bag of stories, carrying them around, wondering why life is so heavy, why it's so difficult. No, stories, please go in your closet. I can use them when it's important to share. I can put them away, like my black dress. I am the black dress? No. No. So employ your stories. Don't become the story. So that you're empty for a big empty canvas and can be anything you want. You can wear anything you want. Does that help?
Yes.
Gil, I wanted to add one last quick thing about the same. For me, sometimes giving up my story doesn't necessarily mean I have to share it or talk about it, but if I examine myself and see, do I have a charge around that story, does that still like make my body go like that, then I have to do something with it to give it away. But if I don't, then it's just a story. It's not, if it isn't defining me, then I don't have to do anything with it. So it doesn't necessarily have to, you don't have to do anything with it unless you're feeling that. Thanks.
You can become your own witness. Become your own witness. Oh, did you want to share? Come on. Come on. You said you know me.
You know more than I do. You need to tell us a double rate.
You're the one who said making love, so you have to.
I was very impressed with your definition of love. Talking about human beings, relationships, mother, daughter, mother, son. You put it in such a lightning way for me that I never read before the meaning of love, because you combine it with the higher being, which to me is God. Not to judge, like Mom was saying about her kids, or I used to say about my own. One died 20 years ago and one is alive, he's 48. I never put the love of God when I express what really love is. If you combine it with a higher being, you can give it with release and you don't get hurt, because then we become part of the universe. And then what I was really impressed also about your book is when you define death. The way I took it is not a physical death, but the creating part. You can bury the shit, put it away, and don't worry about it. And another thing that I was very impressed also, and I never heard before, was that you can jump from the past to the future without staying in the present. And I would love to hear that about you saying it. Your book is wonderful.
Your name? Vinny. Vinny talked about my book Thrive, which is memoir-based essays, but she asked me to comment a little bit more about the idea that we can jump from the past to the future without being present. And the way we do that is with our stories and our evaluation. We spend, if you think about it, sadness comes from the past, anxiety from the future, anxiety and worry. What's going to happen? And what happened to me? Right? So most of the time in this moment, we are thinking about what happened to me, and therefore it will happen again. It might happen again. We talked all weekend of this idea of, we say, I don't want. We don't say, I want to be on time. We say, I don't want to be late. Right? I don't want to be late. I don't want to be fired. I don't want to. So where does the I don't want come from? Yes. And fear of what? Of something that has already happened once? Because how can you know you don't want that? You can only know you don't want something because you have experienced it or seen someone experience it in the past, right? So I say I don't want something from the past, and I put it right in the future because I'm now worrying that it will happen. And in that process, I am never in the present. I'm never in the present. And how that combines with the idea of dying is creation is dying to this moment that just went away, this moment, this moment, this moment, this moment. So I think that's what being born again means. Being born again means that every moment we're born again to this moment and we just died to the past moment. The challenge is we have a memory. And we're using our memory to constantly remember the past and creating it into the future. So that neutrality, observing, oh, it happened, oh, it happened, oh, it happened, means that I can die to the past and create the future open. It's open to anything by being present. So that's the cliff note of how we typically make the past into the future. I have another discovery, that we can go backwards too. We can create the past by how we see it in the present, right? So creation is both ways. We create the past by how we see it in this moment. I'll leave you with that. I think it will go here. So then you understand that there is no time. There is no sequence. It's all only now. It is only now. Right?
John, why don't you come down here?
I can speak from here.
Okay.
Okay, John.
Come on, you can come from here.
People were talking about
We need them on microphone.
We can't hear you.
I don't want to miss it.
Namaste. We have a tendency to crucify ourselves between two thieves: the regret of the past and the worry of the future. And not only that, we have a tendency to choose a Barabbas against a Jesus. We have a tendency to choose the bad and stimulating things against what is inherently good for us. Like I was talking earlier with the mother of Buddha, Christ was not a Christian, he was a Jew. On the same token, Buddha was not a Buddhist, he was a Hindu. See, and then what hit me, the seed, the tree, the ground, the branches reaching out. Come to think of it, we all started with an innate wisdom. When our mother and father brought us out into this world, it started as an innate wisdom. Our parents were products of their parents. Their parents were products of their parents, great-grandparents. We absorb the food, the vegetable, the fish, the meat that's nourished by the sun. So we ourselves is humanity. Have you thought about that? You are not an accident. You are not a coincidence in this world. You are where you are. You are a child of the universe. So with this thing of innate wisdom, when the sperm and the egg join together, there was that wisdom to produce a human being. You become a fetus, you become a baby, you become a toddler, you become a teenager, you become an adult and everything. All this, if you notice, there is an innate wisdom. Let it go, let it grow. Because we have been trying to stand on the way for it to develop and grow. We try to mold somebody, unfold him. You're trying to mold our child, let the child unfold. See, try to see ourselves where we are right now. Where we are right now is the very perfect place where we should be. That is perfect. Why? Because we are where we are. If you notice, whatever misgivings we have, we try to be on the way. We try to stop it. Because I think. The I is the mind and the body. When the I think from Western thought, I think, therefore I am. Is it really that? Or I am, and now I can think. The linear thinking and the holistic thinking. The linear of the left side, the holistic of the right side. So let go and grow. Let the innate wisdom in yourself, at whatever age you are, there is no time limit. There is no such thing as old age in growth. Let it grow. Let it grow. Let it evolve. Let it evolve. So when Gil was sharing his experience, what he's carrying on and everything, because we think we are the mind and we are the body. Basically, the mind, the body, the ego. Okay, now here comes where infinite love is. As I was sharing also earlier with Pooja and her parents, our mind, our body there's a connection, a conduit to our real self. And between the connection of the real self and the mind and body, there is a junction right there. There is an abstraction, which is called ego. Oh, yeah. So, you identify yourself with your body, I. The mind, the body, you identify. So you don't let your real self absorb or engulf the mind and the body because of the ego. You open up this spigot, you open up this, there will be a free flow. The ego, the mind will be absorbed by your real self, which is love, unconditional love, infinite love at that. And before you know it, voila, no problem. No, one thing you notice, if you are with your real self, there's no fatigue. You won't tire. And you won't be fearful.
Thank you.
Okay. So infinitely loving Pooja tells me that it's time, so that we have some time for book signing and just hugs.
Hugs, all right.
I have a question. How do you handle,
One last question.
How do you handle, when you have been
maligned? Maligned?
Yes, how do you handle character assassination? How do you handle when they have inflicted pain on you. When we are talking about slander.
Slander.
Yeah, when you're in politics, you know.
Politics.
And there is a slander and there is a politics.
Yeah.
When you know that you have the conviction that you are in the right place.
In the right. Yeah. So, deep question, big question. How do you handle slander, character assassination? I have a lot of layers for that. A lot of pain. No, I mean I have a lot of deep response to that. But what I experience is that. Remember I said I create you and you create me? So they are creating me in the image of themselves. When there's character assassination, if you say horrible things about me, you are creating me like you are. If I can react or I can create. Same word, reacting, creating is C first. So when I become neutral to your creation, I don't have to take what you created and make it be about me. So I respond with neutrality. Detachment. I don't take that story to be about me. I take that story to be about you. It's your story about me. It doesn't have to be my story. So I find my center, and I also self-reflect. Because when I draw a certain kind of mirror into my field, that's a mirror, it's telling me something. It's not my story, but I self-reflect, and I see what is in me that attracts that story. And I neutralize that piece of me. You know Velcro? Velcro can only stick with both pieces. I talk in the book about it. So if a Velcro piece has come to me, it can only stick if I have the same matching piece, right? I just heal that piece. I don't talk to that other Velcro. I heal this piece, it doesn't stick. It's gone. Short answer.
All right, let's just say thank you. Thank you, Shahana. Thank you, Shirin, for speaking so lovingly. Thank you all for joining us on this Sunday Awakening. Once again, the books are available on your way out. We also have the donation box. We will have another Sunday Awakening for December. So please visit the loveisinfinite.org website for more information on that. And please join us on either these Wednesday meditations or the volunteer work. Find out more about us. Thank you once again for coming.